welcome to Gray Overload. And now Microsoft is conjuring up something else to try to incentivize people to go and buy PCs. I think they actually want to also push some of their Snapdragon stuff they've been working with Qualcomm on. And now they have Copilot Plus PCs. A great way to just rolls off the tongue, Microsoft, just rolls off the tongue. But this new thing, they want to bring AI to the masses, fine. But what is AI going to do to help out everyone with the daily, compute? Why do I need to go out and buy a computer with an NPU on it so that how is it going to help me? Why do I need to do that? That question of why, what is it going to do for me is not being answered. Even in let's just take a look at what Microsoft does. Maybe it does. Maybe they will answer something that a feature that is life changing, making that flow easier, right? When I look at computers as a whole, right, hardware and software really needs to fade in the background so a user can get their work done without the interference of hardware or software. And how is that going to happen? And maybe we'll find it today. Maybe we'll be shocked and we'll find it today. But right now we have Copilot Plus PCs, Microsoft's little Copilot stuff there. They're talking about Snapdragon a lot, right? Even though AMD has out their 7040 and 8040 with a NPU on there, granted it's a lot slower. Snapdragon's at 40 tops is what their kind of class, 45 tops I believe. Is their actual speed, and so they're a lot faster than AMD side stuff. And Intel is, what is it? They're around there, a lot slower too right now. So really, not a lot talked about Microsoft here. They really were showcasing Snapdragon on a lot of the stuff, which is fine. It's just it seems like, oh, if you buy a 7040 and you have this stuff, you can't have this, and that's not how Microsoft should approach this at all. Again, it's going to discourage people over time. Uh, why should I update? Right? I just bought this computer. It was advertised of having an NPU. Why don't I have these same features? It may not be as capable. I get that. We all buy different hardware for different reasons, for different scenarios. But Microsoft, why does somebody want to go out and buy a new machine? You're trying to drive new purchases, which I hope you are able to. I just don't see this so far yet of being able to set it right. They're talking about more powerful processors, all-day battery life, more RAM, and I really think that ARM, like Qualcomm here, and an ARM CPU versus an x86 are getting a lot closer, especially on the low power scenarios, than what people are willing to admit. I think they're much closer in their performance and in their battery life than what people really want to recognize. And so the NPU, this is really the big change, I think, is having an NPU, right? And with this, and they're specifying it here with 40 trillion operations per second to work with. They're specifying it with the Snapdragon, right? They're not hitting the AMD side stuff. They're not hitting the Intel side stuff. It seems like it's a really a push here just on the Snapdragon stuff rather than trying to say Copilot as a Copilot Plus as a full thing, when really Microsoft, you should try to incorporate everything. I get it. You had AMD and saying this is support with AMD Strix and Intel's what was it, Lunar Lake or something in their next iteration here. But you're kind of leaving it off, kind of pigeon-toeing it into just this one area, and really, you, I don't think it's the best decision on trying to say, hey, why should you buy something? And specified for trillions of operations per second to power your productivity and creativity. How? Right? People are like, oh, this is great, and then they're going to be like, how is this? How this NPU is benefiting me? How? That hasn't been answered. Maybe we'll get there. Make the right impression, right? Okay, let's see. How is that going to do it? So Copilot plus PC features with your new superpower. Recall. So this is supposed to recall like your history. Microsoft, you did something like this. I can't remember why it sucked and why it didn't work. Oh wait, you kept taking away features down the line, and all of a sudden I stopped using it because it was just a nightmare to use. I think in Windows 10, right, they were going to have all the history of all your tabs and what you've opened up, your Word documents and everything else. Have all that history there. Is this going to be better? Is this going to be able to do it? Maybe. Is it something you have to integrate in all your programs that you use that are non-Microsoft? That goes to show that it's been slow to adoption on a lot of stuff there, if at all, and that's not a benefit here, right? If people aren't going to adopt it. So I want to know more about that. Now we're going to have Build here soon, so maybe we'll get some insight to this as to what it is. But how is this going to be really good for me? How is this going to help if I can just recall everything? Sometimes that's nice. I have history in browsers, but how often are people going back to it? And then why did you kill that feature prior if you could have just evolved it into this? I get it that you might not have been able to see that far ahead, but again, to me, it's like a 3-year cycle. Let's wait for Microsoft to get this in Windows and keep it for at least 3 years before we start saying, yeah, it's something Microsoft's going to stick with. Co-creator, kind of create your vision. Live captions. I actually really think that this is a good one. Now there's live captioning stuff outside of AI. Does this make it easier? Does this make it more efficient? I hope so. But we've had I should say, closed live captionings, other things, and Microsoft has brought that up in many different other applications already. Um, Creative filters, that could be cool. Now, is this just an AI thing, or is this also rendered through graphics or whatever else? We've seen this stuff already in Zoom. Teams has these type of background things. So how is this Microsoft the Copilot Plus only feature, right? Maybe it's just strictly using an NPU that's there. Build a peace of mind. Uniquely designed for secure AI performance. Copilot PC safeguard most sensitive information. You can be in control of protecting others, of protecting protecting what's yours. How? Like, great. Is this going to be something that protects us? That's actually a really interesting side to AI. I think that people have not really talked about. Can it be a beneficial where you kind of are able to assess threats that could be happening on your system or could be trying to enter into your system, rather than having a reactionary antivirus that's scanning for things or something like that? That could be actually a really interesting thing. But how is that going to happen? Is that built into Windows? Is we're protecting you, here's what we have? And maybe Microsoft is hoping that a lot of this stuff isn't ironed out yet, a lot of this stuff isn't here. We just want this device in your hands, and the future is going to be bright with this stuff. Maybe that's it. But you're also saying that it's doing all these things, and you need to get somebody that jumps out and wants to say, I'm going to buy this. So we can see here we got Dell having a lot of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM. Didn't Microsoft say up here more RAM for more multitasking, run more apps at the same time, and then we have 16 gigs down here? I'm just saying that's kind of like, I expect then for the baseline, if you're going to do more RAM and have that as a thing, that 32 gigs is your minimum. I get it might be overkill, but you said more RAM for more multitasking. There was just an article, I don't know if you guys saw it, or a Reddit post, and they turned into articles of somebody trying to retrieve 7,000 tabs. I'm sure that uses quite a bit of RAM. We have the Surface Pro, Galaxy Book, Surface Laptop. Again, all these are with the Snapdragon Elite or the Snapdragon Plus chip in them to do this. 15 hours battery life, 22 hours battery life, 16 gigs of RAM, 32, right? You got Samsung, Asus, HP, all doing this. So now that we've gone through, is this something that you guys are looking for? Is this something that we are in need of, and something that is going to benefit you on a day-to-day basis of why you should go out and buy a computer with Copilot Plus? I really like to try out one of these Snapdragon chipsets. In fact, when the original, what was the Surface Pro X came out, I was like, oh, I really like to test this out. I've never gotten one. I didn't, not made of money that I can buy everything, but it'd be really interesting to me to go try. how are these experiences going to benefit us? I'm really waiting for this to see what actually happens here with Copilot Plus, how it's going to be, how are we going to have these experiences? How is it going to accelerate my productivity, right? It is the acceleration of productivity. Like in the in one thing is Copilot Plus experience are advanced AI features unique to Copilot Plus that accelerate your productivity and creativity. Recall, Co-Creator, Windows Studio Effects, Super Resolution, and live captions. That may help me, but there a lot of this stuff is has been in programs already. What is the additional thing to make me more productive, more creative? I I kind of feel like these FAQs are just rehashing things, and maybe people are really excited about this, right? And people are going to jump on board. I just, I talk to a lot of people. And I help a lot of people out with their computers and getting up. No one has said to me why I need to go out and get something for AI. How is that going to benefit me? Do I need a new computer? The most threatening thing right now, and maybe Microsoft could do this in a threatening way, which I think is deceitful in a lot of things if they're going to do that without having something, but threatening that, hey, your computer doesn't support Windows 11, you need a new computer. That is, getting people to upgrade, but, and fine, I think that that's kind of deceitful. But what happens if they get through and say, hey, you have to upgrade to get Copilot Plus, your hardware doesn't support this, and people upgrade it and all of a sudden they don't use it? You're gonna get a lot of people mad, and I'm gonna have a lot of explaining to do about why you don't need Copilot Plus if you're not gonna bring a feature out here, and why you don't need new hardware just to support this. So, you know, it's a little disappointing to see how they're coming out with this. I get it; they're trying to sell computers. AMD, Intel will have this stuff down the line and support, but this is an interesting way, right? June 18th is when a lot of these things will be happening. Um, who's going to benefit from these? They say everyone who uses a computer. Unique experience that can come with Copilot Plus were made to accelerate productivity and creativity for all users. I'm going to post this link to below, and if you find something hilarious in this FAQ, sure, put it below. Oh my goodness. Could you, who is benefiting this? How am I going to benefit? So they talk about prices. They said that they're partnering with Intel and AMD in there. I, I, oh man, recall. They had something like this with the, what was it, Windows 10, Windows 8, that you could go back through all your history, sync it between machines, and it just stopped working. And I was just like, well, this is annoying. And getting it set up to work was always make sure everything could sync. You know, privacy, where is the privacy? How is your data there, right? They have some stuff on that. And recall snapshots are kept on the PC themselves. So that is good. And they're encrypted. So Microsoft has that. And they were concerned about privacy, or they were concerned enough about privacy that they put some stuff in here about privacy. And we'll see exactly when it comes out, how private it is. But man, this is, I feel like this is, we need to get this out here, and we have these little things getting started, and that's all we have. And I get it. I've heard that they're going to help out with doing DaVinci Resolve and everything like this, which I'm all for. I use DaVinci Resolve to render, right, and edit videos here, so I can benefit from it. But I'm looking at it as in, you want me to go out and get another computer, and one, it's not in desktops right now, right? This is in laptops and stuff. And if I'm using DaVinci Resolve, it's on my big system. I'm not doing it on my small little system. So how is this going to sell PCs? Maybe somebody can explain in the comments below of the reason of why I need to do this, and not just because it's a new cool feature and it helps with productivity and creativity, because it may do that, but I'm getting all my stuff done now. How much more efficient am I going to be at it, right? You have to bring in the consumer to the reason as why they want to go and do something. How is it benefiting them? Why do you need this device? And they just didn't do it here. They didn't show it off as that, the device that changes everything. Remember what Apple did. You need this device because it will change the way you're communicating everything else, right? Apple brought that, that need that you need to have this device for that iPhone, right? One of the reasons why it's still so successful today, on Apple, over financials too, is that it's because of what they did in the beginning, and of bringing it to of that device of what it means. And you know I could see Microsoft, I could see anybody right now being a leader in AI in the future. It's just, are you bringing that there to them to be able to capture it? We'll see. So with that, that's my rambling of me not understanding Microsoft again. Copilot plus PCs, just rolls off the tongue, Microsoft. But with that, leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, Gravel, and helping this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, God bless.